Friday, January 9th, approximately 5:50 Eastern Standard Time, US. Hope you guys are having a wonderful time of it in 2026. Most people are not. Hope you guys had a tremendous week, whether it be with work, life, love. I'm here for it all. I generally hope everybody's doing well. Not a hater. The all love. With that, let me see if a couple people drop in um, into the live. If not, I'll commence as is. But 2026 thus far is shaping up to be a wild one. Definitely a wild one on our hands with this year. Came out the gate. There was the Somalian discovery of fraud that was happening in the state of Minnesota, other states as well, because I firsthand seen that happen in the state of Maine here in the East Coast. I happen to go to Maine a lot. Um, then followed by what happened with Venezuela, the toppling of Nicolas Maduro, and the Navy embargo that was happening, where you had naval ships that were parked outside of the coast in the Caribbean, not too far from Venezuela. The overtaking of oil tankers, ICE deportations, that broad that got killed in Minnesota, um, all sorts of stuff. And I'm here to talk about all of that stuff. You know, there was in terms of the woman that got killed, or that whose life was ended in Minnesota. I mean, I'm not the type of person to, celebrate the ending of somebody's life, whether they agree with me politically or not. Um, and I'm pretty clear that this lady's politics would not line up with my beliefs or my politics. Nevertheless, you don't want to see nobody's life ended. Um, try to get seated. But I did see a lot of channels that were talking about that last night because it was the flavor of the evening, I guess. And there was actually a very clear video of this woman getting shot at. Me pasas tu número, Marco, enseguida. Uh, no te puedo pasar mi número, hermano. Perdón. Or Jade Montoya. Um, Hi to you, Olivia. I don't know if these are like bot uh, names that are coming through. Oh, wow. 20 views. Baby. Oh, wow. Look at this. Reno Sarah Paul Jaya. But if you guys didn't peep it, like the lady in Minnesota, I think it might have been Minneapolis. She got bucked at by a ICE officer. There was, according to ICE, that she was trying to crash her car into one of the officers. A lot of people dispute that notion. I saw a video earlier today. I mean, it was actually from the perspective of the officer that um, did the shooting, I guess. And it looked as if the woman like hit him. It didn't like hurt him. It seemed, or it didn't like throw him to the floor or anything like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, like you could do a lot of damage with a vehicle running into a pedestrian or individual who's not in a vehicle. And it wasn't like she just ended up there like because she took a wrong turn. She ended up there because she was trying to obstruct the ICE operation that was happening in that town. Um, but again, I mean, you have the liberal mindset is a very corrupted one, especially when you start going deep into the left. A lot of these people are deranged lunatics. I mean, you'll have people that say, "Oh, well, that goes in both directions." Yes, in some extremes, it goes in both directions, but it seems as if in the right, unlike the liberal left, like in the right extremes, like one, a lot of that stuff is maybe attributed to maybe a racist or something like that, but that's not nothing you see common. It's very commonplace to see like a liberal left lunatic saying that they want this person to die, or like celebrating when a person dies, like see Charlie Kirk celebrating, like when people get shot at and whatnot. And that's a commonplace, and it's not you don't even need to go to the extremes in the liberal left. I mean, like, you could say that kind of commentary with people who may align their politics with even Main Street liberalism here in America, at least. And you could say comments like, you want the death of a certain person or the ending of life of a certain person whose politics you don't agree with, and you're not going to have many people stopping you, like, that have left leaning politics. In fact, in America, you won't have many people that are conservatives that are going to stop you, because they just don't want to they know like what follows. Like, I'm personally, you may consider me conservative by 2026 standards, but I hear many people that I'm friends with, um who may not even call themselves liberal but have severe Trump derangement syndrome, who are constantly saying negative stuff about people who they consider their political adversaries, or people who politics don't line up with theirs. And it's usually very vulgar stuff. And I'm not that I'm not the kind of person, but I know how it is in 2025. I'm not gonna try to stop nobody from saying anything. Honestly, one, is freedom of speech, but two, I already know how liberal left lunatics are. Like, a lot of that stuff with liberal left lunatics, it's not just regular discourse. Like, they'll stop talking to you in the best case scenarios. Worst case scenarios, I mean, these people, like, will want to tear your head off. And that's nothing that you see commonplace, especially on the right or conservatives. Or, I mean, even though I don't like Republicans, but with Republicans, I don't like Democrats neither. I don't like Democrats more than I dislike Republicans. But you don't have that war like tribalism that you do with liberal left lunatics. And this woman from Minneapolis or Minnesota, whatever have you, who had who was shot by this ICE officer and whose life was ultimately ended. It's these deranged cases that you see many of, in which there's really no talking to people, like, or there's really no reasoning with some of these people. Like, their mind is made up, and they just are committed to being haters of the ideology they look at as opposite of theirs. And a lot of it is based, like, their ideology, when you get down to the core, like, a lot of these people's ideology is basically a hating on Trump. At the end of the day, like, many of them don't have many political principles that they align with. It's just basically, not liking Trump. And I mean, I'm not here to broadcast on Trump's behalf or try to change people's mind on Trump. I mean, because I'm not like riding with any politician like that in the first place. One, but two, I mean, like, I just don't want the contention in many instances. Like, why, people's mind, like, it's freedom of thought, I guess, too. And my brother Blues guys, man, Happy New Year. Let me see. Mind made up. The video doesn't lie. Oh, as far as the woman that got shot. Yeah, I mean, the I'm not gonna, again, I don't want I our politics don't line up with mine. In spite of that, I definitely wouldn't want to see like a woman um get shot, or have to lose her life. But ultimately, I mean, like, it's not like she was some innocent lamb, doing anything. I mean, I don't think that the actions that happened on January 6th, for instance, the people that entered into the Capitol, for instance, and damaged property were innocent, even though I think that the justice that was um, leveled against them, like where they had to spend years and years for some people that just entered the Capitol and didn't really destroy stuff. Um, I were guilty in some instances. Like they weren't like just not everybody there was innocent. Um, but uh, a lot of people's especially on the liberal left, like that, like could care less, like that some of them people were done unjustly by the justice system. Like their sentences were really expansive. People that didn't like really destroy stuff, or people that just happened to enter the Capitol. I didn't see. I honestly, I can't recall of one single liberal like channel, let's say, um, who, in spite of the fact that they may not agree with like the January 6th protesters' politics, would then turn around and say, "Listen, in spite of the fact that I don't agree with their politics, I think that the justice system is crashing down too hard on some of these people that just happen to enter the Capitol that day." Let's say, so in spite of that, I see a lot of people like on the conservative right that are not taking a victory lap for this woman getting shot at, in spite of the fact that, again, like, she wasn't down there innocently or ended up in the taking a wrong turn and somehow blocking these ICE agents. Like she was inhibiting their operation purposely. And again, I mean, like, this is in a cauldron of a political area, I guess, like Minnesota. One, you have a lot of sufferers of extreme white guilt. Minnesota, same way you do in Maine. That that they're the worst cases of TDS that I've seen have been in Maine, and that of places I've been to, and it also happens to correlate with a high white population. But you have a lot of gullible white guilt, and I know Minnesota has a extreme, very high white population as well, with a lot of gullible people that, in spite of the fact that they're invaded by a Muslim population that is now being exposed for capitalizing off of the welfare system and the Medicaid system, you'll still have people like this woman that are willing to crash out, are willing to, get in the way of ICE operations. And again, I mean, like a lot of it is basically centered off the hate of one politician, in this case, Donald Trump. And secondly, this is something that you're seeing more with the liberal left, because I don't see a lot of instances of like how many bad looks has the conservative right, um, especially when it's a ongoing situation. Like you don't see like the conservative right in the aftermath of January 6th, rallying outside of a prison, asking for people to be popped out of jail, even though a lot of those people were done unjustly. A lot of them were just keeping their head down low. I mean, like, you don't see a lot of people like on the liberal left getting censored, similar to how you do with the conservative right. I think that this channel is censored in many instances by this platform that I'm on right now. Um, the so I mean, and slowly, I think a lot of people are coming to the realization that we do have a problem with the liberal left. And no, it's not everybody who hates Trump is part of the liberal left. I think everybody who hates Trump, I mean, has a little bit of a hater syndrome that I don't see them getting over, but that's fine. but you do also have like people like this young lady whose life was ended in Minnesota, who are willing to, throw themselves in harm's way. I think this lady actually had a child. I think I read somewhere that it was a 8-year-old child. What was it really worth it? Like, I mean, like, and at the end of the day, she's in Minnesota, so who exactly it is that she's fighting for? I know they have a small contingent of people that are getting deported, um, maybe from the Hispanic community, but in Minnesota, I mean, like the flavor of the month or the flavor of 2026, the people that are being deported in Minnesota of late have been this Somali community that Trump is and the government are now focused on, and that Somalian community in Minnesota. One, I mean, like I know I've been around the Somalian community in Washington D.C. when I had the misfortune of living there for a year, and it's not like they're like they're very tribalized too. I mean, like they're not like trying to make friends with people that weren't of that region of the world or of some like non-Somalians, if you will. Like you talk to a Somalian woman, I mean, like you have like loads of Somalian cock blockers, trying to stop the flow. Um, but it's just, even I live in not too far from New York City now. Every immigrant community that has come into America, even Chinese people, in spite of the fact that a lot of them do choose to stay amongst themselves, um, there always seems to be some sort of an attempt to mix in. And I'm not saying that the Somalians don't attempt to mix in, but when you have outright thievery that seems to be happening in that state, a lot of politicians from that state, flaming Tim Walz, that weird Mayor Fry, I think his name is, that seem to be beholden to this one particular community. You have the changing of a state flag to mimic the flag of Somalia, which happened in Minnesota too. I mean, it's just like, and then on top of that too, I mean, like the hustling of the American community. I mean, like these are I don't know. They just seem to be hustling America, and I see it in Maine too. When I go up there, when I use Maine again in my examples a lot because I go to the state of Maine many times per year, and I stay there for a long time. And we just in Maine, not we, but in Maine, I just started seeing in the last like post COVID a large um flooding of the Somalian community into that state again, and you have many gullible white people in Maine. I mean, like I'm not insulting white people en masse, but white people have a big time gullible guilt syndrome that's been spurred about since like 2015 or something. I don't know if it has to do with Trump or what have you, but in the state of Maine, again, you see a large Somalian population that doesn't really mix with anybody else, who's really hungry for power, who takes advantage of the system, like by building these adult daycare centers or daycare centers that are strictly for them. A lot of just shadiness. I mean, and right now in America, do we need more immigrants? I'm from the opinion that we don't. Maybe it's the fact that I'm jaded, a jaded New Yorker who happens to live among too many immigrants from my perspective as it stands. Um, but an ignorant person will say, "Oh, well, not all of America is like New York, and we could have people into the heartland." But no, I rather the heartland remain the heartland. I rather these broad expanses of unoccupied land remain that way. Or I rather, Americans that are suffering through a housing crisis like we do now and large housing prices for them to benefit from those areas that are unpopulated or underpopulated. I don't need another community from another country, like savage ass Somalia, like to fill some sort of immigrant ratio. I think we have too many immigrants as is right now. We're good, and the liberal politicians or liberal politics, they utilize or try to utilize power in numbers like where they could, and it only benefits them. Like, do I want to see like liberals benefit like from an immigrant incursion? Like, absolutely not. And I would say the same thing if conservatives are trying to do it, bring in this outside of America population to benefit them. But liberals are very exposed as to what they do in 2026. Like, they try to obfuscate the issue, or they'll try to paint it as if it's something else. But a lot of people who root against Trump or who root against conservatives, they know that the long term benefit of mass migration into America is basically a stranglehold into for Democrats to get long term victories, like in spite of their bad policies. And most Americans are sick of it. I mean, like everything's going up in price. I mean, like, but to attribute it to something that liberals um, have done, i.e., allow a large population from other countries into America, it's almost like, you try to bring these things up and liberals don't want to hear it, or they'll try to attribute it to if Congress is more occupied by Republicans, they'll say it's Congress. If there's more Republicans in Senate, they'll say it's the Senate. You know, and they'll just switch it up. I mean, they just try to act like they'll do something that I see a lot of people in the last decade do, in which they'll just try to act like they don't understand what you're saying and gaslight people into making you look like, you know, um, you're dumb by like acting like they don't see what's in front of everybody's face. But I mean, we're not here for that in 2026. I mean, like this is the craziest time to be alive. Um, I think we're entering into a newer and newer world, and that's not to say that we're entering into an easier world. Um, in fact, I think we're entering into a more complicated society. Um, imagine if ICE operations or deportation operations take place to just remove half of the people that came in under the Joe Biden administration. You're talking about at least 10 times more deportations than what we've already seen. And look at how crazy these liberals have gotten with just the deporting of 1 to 2 million people. Imagine deporting 10 million people. So we're entering into a crazy time frame. And before I even say that, I'm totally for 20 times more ICE operations to get most of these people out of here. I mean, most of these people, are taking from America, and there's already a large American homeless population that is in need. A lot of American, native born Americans, if you will, naturalized Americans who are already poor. I mean, like, should they have their tax dollars, come in to benefit liberals, like, in order for them to retain a stranglehold on America? I don't think that's fair. I mean, your politics may not agree with mine. I mean, or your politics may not agree with that stance, but the era in that we're entering in, it's a large dose of common sense, and I think that uh, the last 15, 20 years has been a about face from common sense, and we have to enter into a reality based situation. We can't like not be able to talk about these things in an effort to not get censored. And I'm for one, have to dance around certain subjects, the jab, the selection of 2020, because I don't want to get censored. And I think that things are way too critical for Americans, especially, the land of the free, the home of freedom of speech, to have to dance around certain subjects in an effort to not be censored, or in an effort not to offend people, or not have our heads turned off by crazy liberal lunatics and their minions. No, I mean, it's too much of a crazy time for us to have the standards be set by radical lunatics. Um, Let me go on and talk about the Venezuela situation. Unless anybody has anything, 5 people died that day. I'm pretty sure you're talking about January 6th. No, one person died that day, and it was actually by a Capitol police officer, if I remember correctly, who I believe they just uncovered that his wife, the Capitol police officer that killed Ashley Babbitt, um, was running a an illicit daycare center similar to how the Somalis are doing in Minnesota, except he was doing it in Maryland, or his wife was doing it in Maryland, reportedly. Um, Going into the Maduro situation, I've had more time to think about it, and it's just amazing. I mean, like, one, I give Trump a lot of credit for toppling Maduro and bringing him back alive into America, but um, in the aftermath, I mean, like, he actually paraded him around New York City, the liberal capital of America, one of the liberal capitals of America, on the heels of Mamdani winning the election for mayor of New York City. Mamdani is a communist. I don't hold anything against Mamdani for being supposedly Muslim, or supposedly of Africa, or of Indian Arab descent, whatever he is. But I do have an aversion to communists. I can't stand communists. Communism is of the devil, if the devil exists. Um, but again, Trump and the U.S. troops were able to extract Nicolas Maduro, an enemy of the United States, and bring him to justice in New York City. And the fact that he paraded him around New York City, again, I mean, it's pretty much telling all the world leaders and all these politicians of America who are operating 1 inch away from whether that be illegalness or illegality. Like, take for instance, uh, what's Minnesota's governor, Tim Walz, where he either is ignorant to the fact that this daycare scam was happening in his state, or probably implicit involved in that daycare scam, um, or and all these other governors, mayors. It's kind of like putting them on notice too, and all world leaders around the world, putting them on notice. The president of Colombia, forgot his name, um, putting them all on notice. I mean, like, parading Nicolas Maduro around New York City, again, a liberal stronghold. It's pretty much showing the world that you know Trump is that dude right now. He has nuts of iron, and he's pretty much telling the world 2026 is not the year for you to be effing around. And it's good to see. There's not many politicians that I could agree with, even many conservatives. I mean, you see them waffling around and BSing. A lot of conservatives just place themselves as um, weak opposition to liberals, and I hate seeing that. But Trump is unlike any politician, um, and he has some big cojones, and I happen to be a somebody who roots for the land which I live in, which is America. I'm a native of the Americas, and do I need somebody to look like me for me to say that they're a good ambassador of policies that benefit America? No. I mean, Trump looks opposite to what I look like. I'm Puerto Rican of New York City. Trump is a blonde haired white guy, but his politics align with what benefits the land that I live in, the land of my ancestors. Um, we need a new sense of Americanism. I'm not gonna call it patriotism because that sometimes like sounds too hickish, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm and my descendants will remain on this land in perpetuity. Um, and I'm proud of that. I mean, and I think that's a great thing. And a lot of Americans, especially minorities, at times we just root against this great land. I mean, you know, because maybe we want Trump to fail. Like, oh, you know, China's gonna wait till you see what China's gonna do. Like, China don't got love for you. Somalia don't have love for you. You know, Africa don't got love for you. You know, you're here, and that's a great thing. You don't want to be in some other country as a so-called minority of America. So stop bullshitting, stop fronting. And it could only benefit you. What happened, what you think may have happened to your ancestors, like has zero to do with what's happening to you today. You're probably living in some of the worst times ever, and you're here for a reason. So stop fronting, stop being so black pilled with everything. Get in the fight. I mean, and you have more than enough reason to fight because you live in the best land that God could place you on. If you happen to be in America, if you happen to be in Europe, tough shit. Contend with all the Arabs that they allow into these European countries. And this is something I've seen firsthand. I lived in Europe myself for 3 years. Um, among the Turks in Germany, I happened to go to Paris and see those freak Moroccans that they let into that nation. Um, see the savage ass Africans they let into that nation. No thanks. How many times did I want to crack somebody's jaw in Paris when I went to visit that savage ass city? Do I want New York City to become Paris? Absolutely not. These people are dangerous. Uh, and there was only one politician that I could see who had given America any hope of not becoming Europe, and that's the Trump Lord. I mean, like, agree with him or not. I mean, a marriage. Imagine another 4 years of Biden, which most liberals, I mean, like, or shit liberals, most Trump haters, we're totally cool with having 4 more years of Biden, in spite of the fact that they saw Biden's brain rot front and center on full display during the debate. You had many liberals that were still going to vote for Biden. You had many shit liberals who didn't agree with Kamala Harris's politics when she was locking up black dudes in California, um, and was known for that. Took joy in that, but were totally cool with her running the country on the heels of a mass migration effort that was happening while she was in charge of the border, while she was the vice president. You know, and I mean, shit liberals are gonna do what shit liberals do, or Trump haters are gonna do what Trump haters do. But again, I see Trump as the uh, custodian of America, and I think he's the best politician for that job in right now, if you will. Um, my view count has dropped to 0. So with that, and I gotta utilize the bathroom. But with that, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend or rest of your weekend. Don't do nothing crazy. Very gloomy here in the New York City area, but um, and these are really tough times for most people I speak to are not having a great time of it all right now. But I mean, things could only get better, and you have a objective to make things better for yourself where you can. I don't want to preach though. With that, thank you for stepping into the Flower Playland with me. As always, I am Sir Flower Player of Brooklyn, and you are checking out my new channel. Behold, have a wonderful weekend. Peace.